here with us, especially today being Mother's Day. I can't begin to tell you how much I fell in love with your book. All of the characters were developed so beautifully. I felt like in the morning I wanted to wake up and be around Lakshmi and Radha just to hear what Radha would say because she's so feisty, or what Lakshmi was going to get into today, or how snobby Parvati was going to be. So thank you so much for choosing to spend your Mother's Day with us to further the conversation about the Henna Artist and to answer all of our questions.
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me. I love talking about the book. It's been a 10-year journey. So now I finally get to talk to everybody about it, and I can't stop.
When I was reading, one of the things that I found really interesting was the fact that all of your female characters in the book were very strong and empowered women. They were strong in their thoughts, their actions, their words, and it came out in each scene. So can you talk a little bit about that? Was that intentional? And there was also a lot of different types of women in this book, which I thought was really, really smart. There was the whore, there was royalty, which was Maharani Indira, there was the protagonist, there was Radha, who was a young girl, but very, very vocal about all the things that she thought about and all the things that she wanted, even at such a young age. So was it intentional to have such empowered women in this book?
One of them is, of course, as I said before, and I think it's particularly relevant on this Mother's Day, our mothers have so much to do with how we think about life. And my mother really raised me to be empowered in my own thoughts and my own ideas. So I think that one of the most important things that we can do for our sisters, our sisterhood, our nieces, our nephews, anybody that we are passing our sort of self-esteem and our resilience and our wisdom onto, I think what we owe them is this ability to say, I can do it for myself. I don't need the other in my life. And the other could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be, whatever the children, it could be whatever we think makes us whole. I think what we need to know is that we are whole just in and of ourselves.
Right.
We have everything we need right here in our corpus. We have everything we need to think about right here in our brain. And we just need to believe in ourselves more. And I wanted women to know, here is a whole set of very different kinds of women. They believe in what they think, and they are empowered in their own right, even without men in their lives.
Yeah. And I felt that really strongly when I was reading, because I felt like I saw myself a little bit in Gita, even and in Lakshmi, even in Maharani Indira, in the ways that she was even doing humanitarian work, and the words that she would say and how she would interact with Lakshmi and how she was so grateful. And even in Radha and her feistiness sometimes, I felt like every single character was relatable to all the different aspects of being a woman, especially being a woman in today's world. And I think it's a great message of female empowerment. I think that it's a beautiful way for you to learn all the different aspects of what it means to be a woman by reading this novel. You wrote this book at the age of 51, and you pivoted from your career at the time to become a novelist. In many ways, I felt like Lakshmi did a lot of the same things, your protagonist in the novel. She tried to find her way in the world right after independence had happened. And I wanted to see if there was any kind of similarity. Is there a little bit of you in Lakshmi, and maybe Lakshmi in you? Where did you find the courage to pave a new way for yourself in this world?
Lakshmi is a combination, really, of my mother and me. I wrote this book, as you know, for my mother, because she never got to make the decisions in her life that she made sure I could make. So even though she had an arranged marriage at 18 and 3 children by the time she was 22, she didn't let that stop her from realizing that her only daughter could grow up a little differently. And especially, I think, when we immigrated to the United States, she could see how other women were bringing up their daughters, or how girls in California and in the Midwest were sort of growing up with the ability to think for themselves and to say, you know, if I want to be an artist, I'm going to be an artist. You know, I want to make my own decision about whether I want to have children or not. So she said to me, marry whomever you want, have children, don't have children, it's your choice. And whatever you want to do with your career, it's your choice. And, you know, my dad's main concern was that we get a great education. And so he just made sure that we all went to great colleges and got the support that we needed to make it there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so in some ways, what I tried to reimagine was, what would my mother's life have looked like had she fled the marriage before she ever had kids? What if she had had the wherewithal to go to another city and to reinvent herself as something else? And I thought, oh, what could she possibly have reinvented herself as? Well, one day my husband had come home with a gift for me, and it was this book called Hindu Altars. And inside were these beautiful hennaed hands. And also the very first altar that we see is Lakshmi. And so I knew right away, I thought, okay, my protagonist's name is Lakshmi, and she is going to be a henna artist. So I wanted to reimagine this life for my mother. So this was a reinvention of her. Then the reason that Lakshmi is actually a part of me is that I chose not to have children. And my mother was totally cool with that. And I wanted people to read this book and know that a woman who doesn't want to have children is okay. A woman who wants to have children is okay.
Right.
A woman who loves to be in the marriage that she found herself in, that her parents arranged, is okay. And a woman who wants a love marriage with somebody that she has fallen in love with is also okay. So there are so many different kinds of women in this world. And I just feel like we have to respect all of them. We shouldn't prescribe a sort of life for every woman. And Lakshmi represents that ability to say, maybe this is not what I want, or maybe this is what I want. And let me be the person who gets to make that decision.
Today is Mother's Day, like you mentioned, and I know that you wrote this book for your mother. Can you share a little bit about your mother, what it was like growing up with her, and why you felt so compelled to write this book?
Yeah, I always felt that my mother had this huge creative streak in her. You know, she could take anything crafty and she could make a beautiful something out of it. Right. And I thought, you know, what would life have been like for her had she been able to have her own business? I think she would have been fantastic, because she was loved by people. She had a great way with people. She was also super business minded, but she never got the chance, you know, to do that kind of thing. And so, you know, I saw her being a great mother. She loved us so much. And I remember once she said to me, your father gave me the greatest gift of all, which was 3 beautiful, smart children. And, you know, that's so heartwarming, because I could put that in the book. Women who, you know, love to have children, women who are empowered to have children and really want to have children. I think this is, you know, this is how they feel, like this is the greatest gift the universe could have given them. But so my mother was a loving mother. She was also, I think, frustrated. I could see her being frustrated by the life that she could not really make for herself. And so I think she gave me those kinds of messages and said, you know, you go out and do it. I couldn't do it, but you can go out and do it. And I'll give you a couple of instances. So when I was, I think 14 or 15, we went out shopping for dresses for some dance that I was supposed to go to at school.
Mhm.
And we go to a department store like Bloomingdale's, Lord and Taylor, one of those kind of stores. And she pulls a halter top off the rack. And halter tops had just been abolished at my school because they were considered too risque for teenage girls to wear. And this is, in the 70s. And I said, Mom, what are you doing? And she said, I think this would look great on you. Look how clever they are. Look, it's got a little tie in the back, and then your back is exposed, and you have such a lovely back. And I said, Mom, that is way too risque. I can't wear something like that. And I thought for the longest time that my mother was trying to live her life through me vicariously, that maybe she would love to have worn something like that when she was my age. But as I grew older, I realized what my mom was really trying to do was to have me shine. She wanted me to shine no matter what environment I was in. She wanted me to be out there front and center. And she wanted me to be able to say, this is what I think, this is what I believe, this is what I look like, and I love it. Mm-hmm. And I think finally in my 50s, I got there.
And then just the last thing, I know that you don't have any biological children, but I really do feel that you have unleashed an army of daughters everywhere. When they read this book, I really, in my heart, know that they will find something that will help them make the right decisions for their own life, and make them feel empowered to make those decisions. So I just wanted to tell you that. And I also, another thing that I thought of when I was reading the book is that I wholeheartedly feel, I know this is your first novel, but I really do feel like I see this becoming a movie. I'm speaking that for you, that I really do feel that that's coming, because there's not very many books where there are Indian characters that go mainstream, that you just did Reese's book club, and it's only a matter of time. I really do feel in my heart that this will be a movie before you know it.
Oh, Bhavna, thank you so much for saying that. I do get that feedback a lot from readers because they said they could visualize everything while they were reading it, and they could smell the smells, and they could feel the dust in the Jaipur air. And so thank you so much for that comment. I think I will tell your readers that the sequel has already been bought by the publisher. So there is a sequel coming. And then I have a third book planned. And so the second one is focusing on Malik, who is the young helper, the young apprentice that Lakshmi has. Of course, Lakshmi is in every book, and most of the characters are going to be in every book. But Malik is somehow going to take a little bit more center stage in the sequel. And then in the third book, it's actually about Radha. So,
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm really interested to hear about Radha.
Well, you know what's interesting is you write a book and you're living with these characters for 10 years. They become so much a part of you. They're like part of this imaginary family I have in my head, and I miss them when I'm not writing about them. Yeah. I think about them when I'm not writing about them. Oh, I wonder what, Malik is, I wonder what Lakshmi is doing today, up in Shimla. So yeah, I think that you really do get to get a flavor of that. And then can I just say that even though I don't have my own biological children, I do think it's possible to create family dynamics in a very different way now in our world. So we have friends that we rely on. We have neighbors we absolutely adore. We have my family and we have Brad's family, and we feel their love. We don't have to have biological children around us to feel that love or that care, or to know that we will be taken care of in our old age. We definitely will be, because we have so much love around us.
And much in the way that Lakshmi did, like she created her own family for herself.
Yeah.
Love. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bhavna. Thank you for offering me this opportunity.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's going to help a lot of women across the board. So it's my pleasure to do it. I loved the book. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't. And thank you so much for taking the 10 years and taking the time and writing it.